Hello and welcome to Maskcast, the official podcast for everyone's favourite guessing game, The Masked Singer. My name is Nick Johns, I am a Masked Singer superfan and I am a member of the Masked Singer family. But I have to tell you, it's an absolute military operation down there, so I am as in the dark as you are. That's why I've had to call on your help to help me work out some of those clues, and I've also called on the help of some celebrities from the Masked Singer family. When we announced this podcast, lots and lots of you got in touch to suggest that there was one person that would be an excellent guest to join us on this podcast. And I'm really pleased to say that today we got her. It is the woman who pulled the wool over all our eyes as knitting. It's only Claire Richards.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya? Who's that behind the mask?
There is one thing that I need to get straight before we go any further.
Yeah.
Is it true that you can't knit?
Well, I can't. No, I mean I wouldn't say I'm a knitter. No, I've knitted many scarves. Not many. I've knitted a few scarves, but that's about as far as it goes.
A few scarves, I think, makes you a knitter to me. Because
Well,
I was going to ask, because my theory was that you wanted to choose a costume that was so far away from you as to throw people off the scent. Was that the case or not?
Well, no, I don't think it was. I like crafting, and I make a lot of things with wool, or I've made a lot of pom-poms with wool. So I think, and my daughter guessed me immediately as soon as she saw the costume come on the TV, without even a single note coming out of my mouth. I was trying to act all casual because I was like, oh my God, the advert's on the TV. Oh, it's me. And she went, that's you. And I thought, and obviously I denied it at first because my husband knew, but the kids didn't. And I denied it at first, but she wasn't having any of it. She knew it was me immediately.
That was mind-blowing knitting! Yes!
We had Dan Nettleton, who's the creative director of Bandicoot, on the show, and he was telling us about the process of putting those costumes together.
Mm.
Did you have a choice? Did you have an input?
I did. I mean, I went with all these ideas of what I wanted to be and stuff, but they have a good idea of what they want or what they see you as. But I had this real thing in my head that I just didn't want to be a pretty kind of, I wanted something that was going to cover my entire body. So I didn't have to worry about all of that. And nothing that was going to be constricting, so I'd be able to breathe and stuff. I didn't think about the weight of a giant knitted woolly jumper and how hot it was. Yeah. So I was offered that and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I kind of had this image in my head of me just being something massive and kind of cuddly and woolly, obviously. And a bouquet of flowers, I think I was shown.
Did you become attached to the knitting costume? How do you feel about it now?
I love it. I mean, I've got a blanket. The lady that made the costume for me, she made me a blanket. So it's like this, and it's exactly the same, just without the head. I wanted a little model so that I could put in my office with my other little kind of awards and like my discs and things.
Yeah.
And a fan had a little model made for me, and I've got the sketch of my costume. So I am a little bit obsessed with knitting. And I tell you, the one thing that frustrated me the most about the whole thing was, I think it was the first week, my performance, it might have been the second week, behind me on the screen, it said woolly.
Yeah.
So every time I went on Twitter to, do my guessing, everyone kept going, oh, I think woolly's this and I think woolly's that. And I was getting so cross because I was like, she's not called woolly, she's called knitting. And because everyone kept getting my name wrong.
And we're here to say, categorically, it's knitting.
It's knitting.
# don't call me woolly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, I'm going to start writing that now. That's going to be on my tweet.
You're obsessed with knitting. You're also obsessed with The Masked Singer, aren't you?
Yes,
You described your appearance on the show as being like a fan who'd won a competition.
Yes.
What I want to know, and actually this is a dangerous question to be asking.
Oh, God.
Did it live up to the expectation that you had around it?
Oh, it did.
What was the experience really like?
I mean, the first time I walked onto that set, I was absolutely gobsmacked, because being in the business for such a long time, there are some studios you walk into and you're like, oh, is this it? It doesn't quite live up to what it is on the TV, but the Masked Singer set, it's as big as it looks on the telly. I was like, oh my God, this is actually what it looks like. It's huge. And kind of walking out, either side and coming into the centre, it was really exciting. I felt like it was the first time I'd been in a TV studio, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, because you've been in a few and it felt
Yeah.
like the first time.
Yeah.
What is it about the show that you love so much?
I love being right.
Yeah.
I love it.
We all like being right. And do you know where we particularly like being right? We like being right here on Maskcast. Because we are going to talk about some of those performances in a bit. But before we do, I want to talk about a couple of your performances. Because, Claire, you are responsible for some of my favourite performances on the show.
Oh,
Big performances. Memory, one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Enough is Enough, I loved. Was it important for you to be able to perform big numbers like that?
Yes, because that's my voice, I suppose. And I think ultimately, especially when you're a singer, you want to be able to show what you can do. I think I underestimated just quite how many people know that part of my voice. I probably should have done a bit more. But in my head, I was like, that's the impressive bit. That's what I've got to be able to stay in. I've got to do what I do. But I probably should have done less of that to try and disguise myself a bit.
Did you try and disguise it at all?
I didn't tell you. I did.
Did you?
I did. The first show I did, because it was a song that I probably wouldn't have normally have chosen, the Becky Hill song. Once we got to studio and stuff, and once I kind of got into the room with the vocal coach, I was like, oh, I'm going to do it in a country accent. So I tried. I tried to do it in a bit of a country accent. I think my best voice disguise was my speaking voice. I think that was the only one where I actually managed to convince people I was northern. But I tried to do a country accent, but then I think after that first episode, it took so much out of me and I exerted so much energy. I just thought, oh, do you know what? I think I'm just going to have to.
I'm just going to have to go out there and sing. Your voice on The Masked Singer was phenomenal, by the way. Like, Knitting was the one performance last series that I really look forward to hearing. I think we have one of those every series. And for me, last series, it was Knitting, definitely.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
Absolutely. Claire, the other thing that you've become very well known for is developing this online community who join you in being very good at cracking our clues. Tell me how that came about.
Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now, it was the only place that you get an instant reaction to something. And I was like, right, I need to go on Twitter and I need to tell everybody who I think this is. So then it's down and it's registered that I was right all along. That I knew who it was right from the very start. It was like that proof, because afterwards you go, oh yeah, I knew it was them. And if there's no proof somewhere, then people think you're lying.
Right.
So it was just, I think it was my way of proving that I'd cracked it. But it's funny because the first week I didn't tweet along and there were so many people going, come on, Claire, where are you? Are you ready? Are you ready? They were all kind of, so last week I was definitely, I was straight on there before the show starts. I have to get myself all set up and ready to go.
You were doing this before you appeared on the show, weren't you? In you were doing it series before. So when you did do the show last year, how did you try and keep your appearance on it a secret online? Was that difficult?
Yeah, it was really hard.
That was like another level, right?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things, because when I first had the meeting about doing the show, one of my first questions was, will I still be able to tweet? Because as I was playing it along with everyone else, obviously I knew I was me, but I didn't know who anybody else was. And when I was in studio, I was listening out all the time, trying to figure out. And I thought I'd had a few people cracked before it was on the TV. But then I thought, if I don't tweet, it's going to be so obvious. And then this is before anything went out on the TV. So in my head, I'm thinking, if I don't tweet, that's the thing that's going to give me away. It's not going to be my voice, obviously.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I made sure that I could. But yeah, it was, and I was, for weeks and weeks, I was thinking, who can I say that I think it is? And then when it came to it, I couldn't think of anybody. So I kind of went with Jane McDonald.
What tricks could people be using then to throw us off the scent online? Do you think plain denials or?
I was watching Lorraine the other day, and the showbiz reporter was saying they thought she was Owl.
Yes, agreed.
Outright completely denied it. But then, and I was thinking, actually, it could be her. But then she said she's a guest judge on the show, so she can't. It probably isn't her anyway. So it's all confusing.
This really threw me off because I think we saw Lorraine in the series tease at the start of the series, and I was so confused.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think she's coming up as a guest judge. So in fact, it really threw me because I think Owl 100% sounds like Lorraine Kelly, and I can't shake it. I can't disassociate that and think of anyone else. But listen, Claire, before we talk about this week's show,
okay,
this is your tweet from this week. Okay. And I quote Claire Richards, "I'm no good at this game anymore. I just have no clue who anyone is. Hashtag Masked Singer UK." Shout out, Claire, for using the official hashtag. But should we be worried that you're losing your touch?
Do you know what? I'm wondering if being on the show has made me lose my mojo.
That's interesting.
Honestly,
interesting.
After the first, so I've heard everybody now, obviously, the first two shows. And normally, like without fail, I get the one person straight away. I knew Lulu was Lulu immediately. Chris Kamara took me a couple of listens, but I was like, I know that voice. And once it clicked, I knew. Like every series, there's somebody I get, like Gabrielle. I knew it was Gabrielle. But in this season, I haven't. And last week, I was so frustrated by the end. I was like, I can't believe there's not one single person that I go,
I've set myself up online to be the clue detective.
Exactly.
I'm still recovering from the fact that Rat was Shirley Ballas. But Claire, before we get into that, we caught up with her backstage while she was still in costume.
I wanted to do the Masked Singer because I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and see exactly, could I sing a little bit, could I hold a tune, or was I just drastically bad? I thought the guesses from the panelists were actually rather spectacular. They compared me to actors and singers and all sorts and never got any of the clues. I was very surprised about Jonathan because I've been on his show so many times, and some of those clues he should have known.
But I tell you what I think it is. This is what I think it might be. Do it yourself, home repairs. You've got a tool belt on. Regeneration, if you regenerate your house, I think it's someone who has had a champion companion. That companion went by the name of Handy Andy. I think in there, from changing rooms, it's Carol Smiley. Ooh. That's what I think it is.
I think being a dancer helped me with the rhythm. So I was able to sort of not miss too many lines, and I was able to tap it out so I could stay in tune with the rhythm, with my body. The worst part about performing in the costume is that the head gets very, very, very hot, and it feels quite claustrophobic. And the best thing is that I've fallen in love with Ratty. I actually don't want to leave him. I want him to be in my house. He's a character I will hold close to my heart forever, and I enjoyed my journey with my Ratty. My favourite thing about performing with Rat is that I could have my feet and my arms and I could dance, and I loved the way I was able to move the body with Rat. I found keeping this a big secret, to be honest, very difficult. So I thought first I'd tell my mum, and then I told my boyfriend, and then I told my son because he's a singer and he was in total shock that I even signed up. So I was delighted that I got past week 1, Mark Ballas. I think the whole nation will be totally surprised to see that it's me, because the character is not the most feminine character. You know, I could have gone with one of the beautiful gowns, but I chose to go with a ratty. And I think the whole nation, I'll be surprised if anybody gets it at all, actually. It was very weird not knowing who my co-stars were, but backstage we were able to give each other a thumbs up and an elbow nudge and a little cuddle, and I think everybody wanted to know who everybody else was, but it will be revealed soon. I'm looking forward to everybody being unmasked. I want to know exactly who was on the show with me, because some of the songs I heard backstage were absolutely phenomenal. So I believe everybody is good on this Masked Singer.
Did you have any idea that was Shirley Ballas?
I did not have a clue. I think she did really, really well.
She was so great, and I agree with you, because I was so firmly down that like painting and decorating route. I was thinking about Alan. I've just been thinking like
Alan?
Why she got the tartan. Who's that? Who
is Alan?
Who is Alan?
Who's Alan?
Who is
I'd love
Alan?
to know.
We need to find out.
But,
Do you know
I
the only thing that like when I thought about it is that her Scouse accent isn't very pronounced, but you can see how she can dial that up when she needs to.
They've really stepped their game up this year with the clues, I have to say.
Let's talk about Maypole then, because I loved Maypole's performance this week.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a non-British vocalist.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
You've
got an idea. I can tell you've got an idea.
I have got an idea, and from something, I've got notes and everything.
Oh, Claire. I'm so thrilled with the notes.
So I think it's Denise Pearson from 5 Star.
Interesting. Rain or Shine.
Yeah.
There was a Rain or Shine clue.
Another World. They had an album that's something to do with the world. I can't remember what it's called. The bit that says Return to Sender, they also had a song called RSVP.
Do you know what I was so hopeful of? That we were going to be aligned on this.
Oh, God. Who do you think it is?
It's not where I've gone with it, right? It's not.
Okay.
I mean, this is a little bit of a sneak preview for Thursday's episode, because we dissect the clues on Thursday.
Oh, the album was called A Brand New World, and there was a clue that said Another World. Sorry, go on.
Right. There were 2 things that I'm just going to put out there.
Okay.
Maypole talked about how tough it is to survive an island.
Right.
And so I immediately thought about The Island, the Channel 4 series, and I thought I'm going to have a little look at kind of people that have been through that process, just to see whether there's anyone that could even fit the true or custard pie section where they were giving 2 clues.
Yeah.
There was a reference to Grin and Bear It.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I'm putting those 2 things together, but The Island, Bear Grylls, like, have we seen Maypole on the island with Bear Grylls? So I went on to the Channel 4 episode page.
Can I just say, I don't know what that is, by the way.
This was a Channel 4 survival show. So Bear Grylls sends you away to a deserted island, and you have to survive for 6 weeks. And they've done, for Stand Up to Cancer, they did a couple of celeb versions. So it was ordinary people to begin with, but they've done some celeb versions of it. And I was looking at names. Lydia Bright's name came up. Lucy Mecklenburg came up. And then I think, series 2 of the island, the Celebrity Island with Bear Grylls, Melody Thornton from the Pussycat Dolls.
Okay. I did Pop Star to Pop Star with Melody Thornton.
Oh, go on. Here we go.
Yeah, she can sing. Isn't she on Broadway doing something, though, at the moment?
Is she? You've heard the vocals more up close than I have. Because that actually, when I was listening to her, I thought I could hear Scherzinger.
I don't know if she's really American, though.
You need to text her. Text her and ask her.
Oh, I'm not that kind of celeb, darling. Don't swap numbers with me.
I thought you were going to say, well, she'll never tell me because she signed the NDA.
Oh, no. Well, no. I mean, I obviously never told anybody.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, she is tiny. Tiny. Because this is how I cracked Amber Riley, by the way.
That she was in the country.
She was in the country when we were filming. And I was like, oh my God, I know it's her.
I tell you who I absolutely haven't cracked from the other end of like, there's a guest that I'd like commit to. Who I haven't cracked is Dippy Egg. What we saw from Dippy Egg is that he is a proper showman. I mean, there was that kind of, there's no business like show business. We sort of felt that we were seeing a proper performance.
Yeah.
I'm thinking soap star.
There was a lot made of wellies, of Wellington boots, I thought.
A lot of the voice notes that we've got and a lot of the chat around him is that he's a soap star. And I don't know what it is about him that's pointing towards that, because I don't think we've seen anything that sort of said that explicitly. I'm going to look at Emmerdale. I mean, I sort of wonder whether the kind of the farm and the wellies.
Do you know who I did think?
Go on.
I think who I did think the first week, the guy who plays Bob in Emmerdale. I don't know what his real name is.
This is Tony Audenshaw.
Because he does sing.
Yeah.
I think he's in a band or something, and he's a good singer.
Well, that's come up on here before. We had a voice note from somebody that was talking about him. And actually, we made another link to him. There was a West Side Story reference in his clue package. And obviously, the main character in West Side Story is Tony. Is that pointing us towards Tony Audenshaw? Don't know.
But the Strictly, has he done Strictly?
Strictly. I mean, Kelvin Fletcher, right?
Yeah.
Another Emmerdale star with a farm connection. I don't hear it in his voice, but
no.
I mean, we should probably put it out there that it's a possibility.
Yeah, he was the other one because he's got a farm, hasn't he?
He does. We famously know that he's got a farm, so we've seen him on the farm before.
But the voting, there was a football reference, there's wellies, there was a lot of Wellington references, Strictly, and the voting. I don't know, it's not linking together yet.
Yeah.
But I did think Bob maybe because I know he can sing, and I do think it is an older man.
Are you good at calling a winner?
Ooh, I mean, I do think cricket is Lamar. I'm just putting it out there right now. I'm convinced it's him.
Were you persuaded by Ollie, or was this your own theory?
No, because I obviously watched it and I wrote down.
Claire is holding up.
Look, and it's pink.
What looks like a mind map with Lamar in the middle.
Yeah, look.
I can see Fame Academy. I can see Duck is pink. Cricket. 5 different sandwich fillings. Claire, I want to be round at yours every Saturday.
See? But I had, before Ollie said it, because when he was going, he sung at my best friend's wedding. It's like, say Lamar, say Lamar, say Lamar. And he did.
Claire, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for bringing those phenomenal handwritten clues with us. It has been an absolute pleasure to spend time in the company of my favourite knitting.
Oh, your favourite knitting, the only knitting. This is great. I love having a big old proper conversation about it. It's like...
This is the place to come.
I'm obsessed. I know.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya? Who's that behind the mask?
It's been so great to spend time with a true Masked Singer superfan. Do you agree with Claire's guesses? You need to let me know by getting in touch. You can voice note or text me on 07999 584 515. You can post on our socials, on Instagram or on X by using the hashtag MaskedSingerUK, and make sure you mention Maskcast in your message. Or if you want to email us, you can email us at hello@bandicoot.tv. I also want you to subscribe so that you do not miss a single episode of Maskcast. And please spread the word. Right, I'm off to join the circus, Maskcasters.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?